is here with us, former Canadian Prime Minister who now serves as committee chairwoman, steering committee chairwoman of the World Movement for Democracy, Kim Campbell. Kim, good morning.
Good morning. How nice to be here.
Thank you for being here. Now, let's start with what's your take on the opening remarks of President Yudhoyono yesterday?
Well, I've heard a lot of speeches, and I've seen a lot of audience responses to speeches. And President Yudhoyono's speech yesterday was fantastic, and it got the most amazing response from all of the people who were there. And I'm not just saying this to you because I'm in your country and it's your president. He spoke in a very candid, open way, very realistic way about the challenges of democracy, but in a way that was really very encouraging to those of us who are struggling both to support democracy in places where it's trying to take root and even to strengthen democracy in our own countries, because it never ends. It's always a constant battle, even in mature democracies. I thought that he really expressed a remarkable philosophy. And the renewal of democracy in Indonesia since 1999 has been one of the most encouraging developments in world politics for those of us who care about democratic governance. And I don't know if Indonesians really understand the extent to which what's happened here, even with you still have problems and challenges, the extent to which it has encouraged and really inspired people outside of Indonesia. It's inspired democratic activists in other countries, but it's also given great hope to people who hear the message, you can't have democracy in Islam, or countries like Indonesia are much too complex to have democracy. Well, you've shown that that isn't the case, and I come from a complex country too, and where there's good leadership and will of the people, you really can make these transformations. So the success that you've had has been a wonderfully encouraging development for everybody in the world, and so being here in Jakarta to celebrate that and hearing the remarkably articulate and eloquent speech of the President yesterday was great. So I hope it gets up on YouTube or something so that your countrymen and women can have a chance to hear it directly.
And you also met with the President in an official meeting.
Yes.
What did you talk about?
Well, he had just come back from the ASEAN retreat in Vietnam, which is when the leaders get together, I guess, in a kind of an informal, unstructured way and have the really heart-to-heart conversations. And I was impressed by his great interest in what's happening in the region and his understanding of the importance of being low-key, not grandstanding, but of playing an important role in encouraging the other leaders to move towards democratic norms. And I think that, again, it's not just what Indonesia can accomplish for itself and for its own economic growth and stability in the world, it's the influence it can have in the region. So that was very encouraging to me, that I felt that he sees the importance of Indonesia playing a role in looking outside its borders and caring what happens, but also in a way that is most guaranteed to be successful, discreet, the whisper in the intimate get-together as opposed to the grandstanding that can sometimes just defeat the effort.
Now share with us the experiences that you've gained learning from democratic movements in various countries.
Well, no one size fits all, and each country comes to the challenge of democratic transition with its own different history. I do a lot of work in Ukraine, and in my youth I was a Soviet specialist, and there's a kind of a whole mindset that came out of the Soviet experience, which is very different from the kind of mindset that came out of countries that had colonial experience or had different other forms of authoritarian rule. So I think the most important thing is, this is something we can say in English, I don't know how well it will translate to other languages, that democracy cannot be imported or exported, but it must be supported. So each country has to find its own genius when it comes to empowering people and creating the rule of law and governments that are accountable, responsive, and ways for people to elect them. The design of electoral systems and all these things are very unique to countries, and the barriers are unique to countries. I mean, for example, in the former Soviet Union, this was a country that wasn't undeveloped, it was misdeveloped. And so when you look at making transitions there, you have very sophisticated institutions, but people have to have new ways of thinking. In some other countries, you're creating whole new institutions. People have to learn new skills. It's not so much a matter of unlearning as learning something new. So there are many different approaches, but I think the thing that strikes me is the courage and dedication of just ordinary people. At this meeting here, we have over 600 people, and a woman came from Zimbabwe said to me yesterday, I'm so thrilled to be here, and I feel so encouraged and re-energized to go back. And I come from the the peaceable kingdom of Canada. You know, it's not a hard place to live, and you know, even though I can complain as a politician and the press were mean and you guys would gang up on us, whatever, my worst day was better than the best day many of these people experience. And what impresses me is the courage and dedication of those who make these transitions. And so having them here today, at least this week in your city, I hope that it's going to be a wonderful new energizing experience for them all.
I hope so as well. Thank you very much for being here in the studio, and enjoy the rest of your stay here in
Thank you. I've enjoyed it
Jakarta.
very much.